What if everything we know about human history is just the tip of the iceberg? What if entire civilizations, more advanced than we ever imagined, vanished without a trace? Welcome to Beyond the Obvious, where we uncover the secrets that challenge our understanding of reality. What if everything we know about human history is a lie? For centuries, we've been told that civilization began around 5,000 years ago with the rise of Mesopotamia and Egypt. That before that, humanity was primitive, nomadic tribes struggling to survive. But what if that's only part of the truth? What if before the Great Pyramids, before Sumer, before recorded history, there were civilizations more advanced than we ever imagined? Civilizations with knowledge of astronomy, engineering, and technology that should have been impossible for their time. Today, we embark on a journey beyond the limits of mainstream history. From the sunken ruins of Atlantis to the impossible architecture of Göbekli Tepe, from the mysterious timekeeping of the Mayans to the unbroken peace of the Indus Valley Civilization, we will uncover the truth that history books refuse to tell. Are we the first great civilization on Earth? Or are we just the latest in a forgotten cycle? A cycle that has repeated for thousands, maybe even millions of years. Let's begin. What if the greatest civilization in history never truly disappeared, but was erased? For centuries, Atlantis has been dismissed as myth, a fictional utopia described by Plato. A powerful, technologically advanced empire that ruled the seas before vanishing in a single day and night. But what if Atlantis was real? And more importantly, what if its story holds the key to understanding our own forgotten past? Ancient records, lost maps, and unexplained ruins suggest that Atlantis might not just be a legend, but a memory of a civilization wiped out by catastrophe. What was this lost world? Where did it exist? And is it possible that remnants of its knowledge still survive today? Let's dive into the greatest unsolved mystery of human history. Plato, one of history's greatest philosophers, was the first to describe Atlantis, around 360 BCE. He claimed that his account came from Solon, an Athenian statesman who had learned of Atlantis from Egyptian priests. Atlantis, he wrote, was an island beyond the Pillars of Hercules, now known as the Strait of Gibraltar. A vast and powerful empire, controlling lands as far as Egypt and Italy. Technologically and militarily advanced, with grand cities, sophisticated irrigation, and advanced ships. Destroyed in a single cataclysm, vanishing beneath the ocean. Many dismiss the story as an allegory, a lesson about the dangers of arrogance and corruption. But what if Plato was recording a real event, one so ancient that it faded from human memory? Where was Atlantis? If it truly existed, where did it stand before sinking into the sea? Some of the most shocking discoveries suggest that Atlantis may not have been one place, but a lost global civilization, one that left traces in multiple locations. Small Blue Diamond, the Rikat structure, the Eye of the Sahara, Mauritania. A massive, circular geological formation in the Sahara Desert perfectly matches Plato's description of Atlantis' ringed city. Once covered by water, scientists now know this area was fertile and home to an advanced civilization over 10,000 years ago. Could Atlantis have been buried in the sands instead of the sea? Small Blue Diamond, the Bimini Road, Bahamas. Off the coast of the Bahamas, divers discovered a submerged stone structure, resembling an ancient paved road or wall. Some claim it is a man-made artifact, supporting theories that Atlantis was located in the Caribbean or Bermuda Triangle. Could this be part of a lost civilization wiped out by a global flood? Small Blue Diamond, the sunken city of Dwarka, India. Off the coast of India, researchers found ruins 9,000 years old, older than any known city. The site includes walls, streets, and structures eerily similar to Plato's description of Atlantis. Was Atlantis part of a global culture that extended to India? Small Blue Diamond, Antarctica, the frozen continent theory. Some researchers believe Atlantis might be hidden beneath the ice of Antarctica. Ancient maps, such as the Piri-Reis map, 1513, depict Antarctica without ice, suggesting knowledge of the continent long before modern discovery. If Atlantis was once located there, could its remains still be buried under the ice? Could it be that Atlantis was not one city, but an entire lost civilization, spanning continents and erased by a sudden catastrophe? If Atlantis was real, how did it disappear? Ancient myths worldwide speak of a sudden flood, fire, or earthquake that destroyed an advanced civilization. Modern scientists are uncovering evidence that something catastrophic happened 12,800 years ago, the exact time some believe Atlantis fell. Globe showing Europe-Africa, the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. Around 12,800 years ago, Earth was struck by a massive cosmic event, possibly a comet or asteroid. This event triggered global flooding, wildfires, and massive climate shifts, wiping out many early civilizations. Could this have been the event that sank Atlantis? Waterwave the global flood myths. The Sumerian epic of Gilgamesh describes a great flood that destroyed a powerful civilization. The Mayan Popol Vuh speaks of a previous world wiped out by water. The biblical story of Noah's Ark mirrors these ancient legends. Were these stories all describing the same lost civilization, Atlantis? Volcanic eruption, the Santorini connection. Around 1600 before current era, the Minoan civilization on Crete was devastated by a volcanic eruption on the island of Santorini. Some believe this event inspired the Atlantis story, but what if it was a later echo of an even older disaster? Something catastrophic happened in the past, reshaping the world and erasing a highly advanced culture. If Atlantis was real, did any of its knowledge survive? Some researchers believe that Atlantis survivors spread across the world, carrying fragments of their wisdom. Ancient Egypt. Some theories suggest that Atlantis survivors helped build the pyramids, passing down lost scientific knowledge. South America. The mysterious Viracocha legend tells of white-skinned, bearded teachers who arrived after a great flood, bringing civilization to the Andes. The Sumerians. The first recorded civilization appeared suddenly, with advanced astronomy, writing, and engineering. Did they inherit knowledge from Atlantis? Did an advanced civilization leave clues hidden in myths, structures, and ancient texts, waiting to be rediscovered? Atlantis might not have been the beginning, but rather the end of something even greater. Was it part of a lost cycle of civilizations that rise and fall over thousands of years? Did Atlantis possess knowledge, scientific, spiritual, or even technological, that we are only now beginning to rediscover? And if a catastrophe wiped them out, could it happen again? Atlantis was either the greatest civilization never found or the greatest truth ever hidden. The evidence is there. The question is, are we ready to see it? Imagine a structure so ancient that it predates the pyramids of Egypt by 7,000 years. A temple so mysterious that it was buried on purpose, as if its builders wanted to hide something. This is Göbekli Tepe, an archaeological site in Turkey that defies everything we thought we knew about early civilizations. Göbekli Tepe was built 12,000 years ago, in a time when, according to mainstream archaeology, humans were simple hunter-gatherers, lacking the knowledge to construct such a monumental site. Yet, what we find here is massive T-shaped stone pillars, some over 20 feet tall and weighing up to 20 tons. Precise carvings of animals, symbols, and humanoid figures, many of which match constellations in the night sky. Evidence of advanced stone-cutting techniques, centuries before metal tools were supposedly invented. If history is correct, then who built Göbekli Tepe? And how did they achieve such precision without the technology that was supposedly only developed thousands of years later? The stone pillars of Göbekli Tepe are covered with detailed carvings of animals, insects, and strange humanoid figures. At first glance, they might seem like simple decorative elements, but deeper analysis suggests something far more profound. Astronomical alignments. Many carvings align with constellations, including the Vulture Stone, Pillar 43, which researchers believe marks the date of a catastrophic event, possibly the Younger Dryas impact, around 12,800 years ago. The handbag motif. Several of the pillars feature a strange handbag symbol, which has also been found in ancient Sumerian, Mesoamerican, and even Indonesian artwork. What does this symbol represent? Some believe it could indicate a lost global civilization that shared knowledge across continents. Human-like figures with no faces. Some of the humanoid carvings at Göbekli Tepe are missing faces. Could this be a symbolic representation of forgotten gods? Or something even stranger? The mainstream theory suggests that Göbekli Tepe was built by Neolithic hunter-gatherers, but this explanation creates more questions than answers. No evidence of agriculture or permanent settlement has been found nearby. If this was built by primitive humans, how did they support the labor force needed to move these massive stones? No signs of everyday life, no homes, no fire pits, no pottery. It's as if the site was built purely for a ritualistic or scientific purpose. The site was deliberately buried around 10,000 years ago. Why would an ancient civilization go through the effort of covering it up? Was it to hide something? or to protect it from something. The deliberate burial of Göbekli Tepe is one of its greatest mysteries. Normally, civilizations abandon sites due to war, climate change, or economic collapse. But here, the builders covered the entire complex with tons of dirt, effectively sealing it for thousands of years. Some archaeologists speculate that the site was buried to preserve it from an impending disaster. Others suggest it was a symbolic act, perhaps marking the end of an era of knowledge, as if its builders knew that the world was about to change forever. More controversially, some researchers believe that Göbekli Tepe was built not by hunter-gatherers, but by the last survivors of a forgotten prehistoric civilization, one that may have been wiped out by a global cataclysm. Göbekli Tepe challenges the conventional timeline of human history, but it also connects with other ancient mysteries. Atlantis. Plato described Atlantis as a highly advanced civilization that vanished suddenly. Could Göbekli Tepe have been built by its survivors? The flood myths, nearly every ancient culture, from the Sumerians to the Mayans, tells of a great flood that destroyed a previous civilization. Could Göbekli Tepe be evidence of this lost world? The Sumerian connection. The Sumerians, the first known civilization, appeared almost immediately after Göbekli Tepe. Did they inherit lost knowledge from its builders? As more of Göbekli Tepe is uncovered, one thing is clear. This is not just a temple. This is a message from the past, left by a civilization that we have barely begun to understand. Were they warning us about a cycle of destruction that has happened before, and could happen again? Did they possess knowledge that modern science is only now beginning to rediscover? Have we been looking at human history backward, assuming that progress has always moved in a straight line, when in reality, civilizations may have risen and fallen multiple times? Whatever the answer, Göbekli Tepe is the smoking gun that proves our history is far more complex than we were led to believe. And the biggest question remains, if this was just the beginning, what else is buried beneath our feet, waiting to be discovered? Imagine a civilization so advanced that they could predict eclipses, measure planetary movements with precision superior to modern calculations, and create a calendar so complex that some believe it holds secrets about the very nature of time itself. This is the Mayan civilization, a society that flourished in Mesoamerica for over 2,000 years. But who really were the Mayans? How did they develop such an advanced understanding of time? And did they possess knowledge that we have yet to fully comprehend? The most famous aspect of Mayan knowledge is their calendar system. But this was not just a tool for tracking days. It was a multidimensional system, blending astronomy, mathematics, and spirituality in a way that still confounds scholars today. The Mayans used multiple calendars simultaneously, each serving a different purpose. The Tzolk'in sacred calendar, a 260-day cycle used for spiritual and divinatory purposes. No other ancient civilization had such a calendar, and its origins remain a mystery. The Hob solar calendar, a 365-day calendar that aligned with the solar year, as precise as modern calculations. The long count calendar, used to track vast cycles of time, spanning millions of years. This is the calendar that famously predicted a major cycle change in 2012. The complexity of these systems suggests that the Mayans understood time not as a straight line, but as a cycle, a concept that modern physics is only now beginning to explore. The Mayans were not just great astronomers, they were visionaries, capable of predicting cosmic events with astonishing accuracy. They tracked the movement of Venus so precisely that their calculations were more accurate than those of 20th century European astronomers. They built entire cities aligned with celestial bodies, suggesting a deep connection between their structures and the cosmos. They understood the concept of 0 centuries before it was introduced in Europe, allowing them to perform complex calculations. But how did they acquire this knowledge? Did they develop it independently, or could they have inherited it from an earlier, lost civilization? Mayan pyramids, such as El Castillo and Chichen Itza, were not just temples, they were cosmic clocks. El Castillo is designed so that, during the spring and autumn equinoxes, sunlight creates the illusion of a serpent slithering down the pyramid's staircase. The Temple of the Inscriptions in Palenque contains a sarcophagus with a carving that some interpret as a depiction of an ancient astronaut or interdimensional traveler. The entire layout of Mayan cities often reflected the positions of stars and planets, suggesting a knowledge of astronomy far beyond what a pre-industrial society should have possessed. The Mayans believed that time was cyclical, meaning that events repeated in great cosmic cycles. This idea resonates with modern theories in quantum physics and relativity, which suggest that time may not be as linear as we experience it. Some researchers propose that the Mayan long count calendar was not just a tool for tracking time, but a map of human consciousness, marking periods of enlightenment and decline. The 2012 phenomenon was not the end of the world, but rather the end of an era and the start of a new cycle. Could this mean that the Mayans had knowledge of great cosmic shifts, patterns of global transformation that repeat over time? Some legends even suggest that Mayan priests could access higher dimensions during rituals, gaining glimpses of the future or past. Despite their incredible achievements, the Mayan civilization collapsed mysteriously around the 9th century AD. Theories include climate change. Evidence suggests that a megadrought could have devastated their agricultural system. Internal conflict. The Mayan city-states were not a unified empire but competing powers, leading to wars and political instability. A global catastrophe? Some researchers believe that the Mayans foresaw a great disaster and left, abandoning their cities for reasons still unknown. But could there be a more extraordinary explanation? Some interpretations of Mayan mythology suggest that their gods came from the sky, bringing knowledge and wisdom. The feathered serpent god Kukulkan, or Quetzalcoatl, was often described as a teacher of astronomy and mathematics, who promised to return one day. Some researchers believe this could be a memory of an advanced civilization that once visited the Mayans. Others suggest that the Mayans themselves may have possessed knowledge of cosmic travel or interdimensional experiences, leaving behind only the clues hidden in their texts and monuments. Göbekli Tepe challenges our understanding of the past, but the Mayans challenge our understanding of the future. Their knowledge of time, their mastery of astronomy, and their mysterious disappearance leave us with questions that mainstream history cannot fully answer. Were they merely an advanced civilization, or did they tap into a knowledge of time and the cosmos that we have lost? Did they predict great global shifts? And if so, what does that mean for us today? Could their long count calendar hold secrets about the cycles of human consciousness and evolution? One thing is certain: the Mayans were not just an ancient people. They were guardians of a forgotten science, keepers of a knowledge that still eludes us. And if we can decode their wisdom, we may unlock a truth about time and the universe that changes everything we know. Imagine a civilization so advanced that it built meticulously planned cities, engineered sophisticated drainage systems, and thrived for centuries, yet left behind no evidence of kings, armies, or war. This is the Indus Valley Civilization, one of the largest and most mysterious ancient societies the world has ever seen. Existing over 4,500 years ago, it rivaled Mesopotamia and Egypt, yet it remains one of history's greatest enigmas. How did they achieve such an advanced level of urban development? Why do we find no signs of warfare? And what happened to them? Unlike other ancient cultures that glorified war, the Indus Valley people seem to prioritize peace. Archaeologists have found no large weapons caches, no evidence of massive battles, and no fortified palaces or citadels indicating military dominance. Unlike the Egyptians and Mesopotamians, who built monuments celebrating conquests, the Indus people left behind no war records, no depictions of rulers, and no signs of an oppressive elite class. Some historians suggest they may have governed through a decentralized system, with communities managing themselves through trade, cooperation, and shared resources. How did they achieve this? Did they discover a societal model that eliminated war altogether? A secret lost to time? The cities of the Indus Valley, Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, Dhalavira, and others, were masterpieces of urban planning that even modern architects admire. Streets were laid out in perfect grids, suggesting advanced knowledge of geometry and civic planning. They developed multi-story homes, built from kiln-fired bricks of standardized dimensions, something that wouldn't be seen again until Rome, 2,000 years later. The world's first known sanitation system was found in Mohenjo-daro, complete with underground sewers, brick-lined drainage, and private bathrooms in homes. The Great Bath of Mohenjo-daro, a huge, waterproofed pool, suggests the Indus people valued hygiene and possibly used water for ritual purification. If they were so advanced, why do most people never learn about them? Without war or conquest, how did the Indus people thrive? The answer might be trade and sustainable living. They had extensive trade networks, exchanging goods with Mesopotamia, Central Asia, and possibly even Egypt. Their economy was based on trade, agriculture, and craftsmanship, producing high-quality tools, jewelry, and textiles. Unlike many ancient civilizations that overused their land, evidence suggests the Indus people practiced sustainable farming techniques, allowing them to flourish for centuries. But if their system was so stable, what caused their mysterious disappearance? Around 1900 before the current era, the great cities of the Indus Valley began to decline. But why? Climate change. Evidence suggests that a massive drought or changing monsoon patterns may have dried up the Sarasvati River, a key water source. Earthquakes and natural disasters. Some scientists believe tectonic activity may have disrupted rivers, forcing mass migrations. A gradual decline. Unlike sudden collapses seen in other ancient civilizations, the Indus Valley seems to have faded away slowly, with people gradually abandoning cities rather than facing destruction. But there is another possibility. Some alternative theories suggest that the Indus people may have relocated or evolved into other cultures, taking their knowledge with them. Genetic evidence suggests that their descendants may still be among us, possibly influencing later cultures in South Asia. Their peaceful society and urban planning ideas may have inspired other civilizations without us even realizing it. Could they have discovered something so powerful, perhaps about sustainability, time, or the cosmos, that they chose to disappear rather than let it be lost? The Indus Valley Civilization remains one of history's greatest unsolved puzzles. They built some of the world's first planned cities, yet we don't know their rulers. They avoided war, yet thrived for centuries. They created a mysterious script, yet we cannot read it. They left behind some of the most sophisticated water and waste management systems ever seen in the ancient world, yet modern cities still struggle with these problems today. Could the Indus people have unlocked a way to live in peace, only for their knowledge to be lost? If we could decipher their script, could it hold answers to questions we still face today about conflict, sustainability, and human civilization? One thing is certain, the Indus Valley was not just a civilization, it was an enigma. And perhaps, the greatest mystery of all is that they may have achieved something we still struggle with today, a world without war. What if everything we know about history is only half the truth? What if the greatest civilizations of the past possessed advanced knowledge, lost to time, or even deliberately erased? For centuries, mainstream archaeology has told us that human progress follows a linear path, that we started as hunter-gatherers, built primitive societies, and slowly evolved into the modern world. But what if this version of history is incomplete? Across the world, we find evidence of ancient knowledge, mathematical precision in monuments, astronomical alignments in temples, and engineering feats we still struggle to explain today. Some of these civilizations seem to have understood science and technology at levels we are only beginning to rediscover. Did the ancients possess hidden wisdom, knowledge of the universe, energy, or even lost sciences? Many ancient structures across the globe are built with precise mathematical ratios, far too precise to be mere coincidence. The Great Pyramid of Giza encodes the mathematical constant pi and the golden ratio, values supposedly only discovered thousands of years later. Stonehenge, the Parthenon, and many Mayan temples follow similar geometric alignments, reflecting cosmic patterns. Göbekli Tepe, the world's oldest known temple, was built over 12,000 years ago, before humans were even supposed to have agriculture, yet it contains complex symbolic art and massive megaliths, perfectly positioned. Did ancient civilizations understand the mathematical nature of reality in ways we no longer do? Could they have had a lost system of knowledge that connected architecture, energy, and consciousness? Ancient civilizations tracked celestial movements with extreme precision, long before telescopes or advanced tools. The Dogon people of West Africa somehow knew about Sirius B, a star invisible to the naked eye, long before modern astronomers confirmed its existence in 1862. The Mayan long count calendar precisely tracks the movements of Venus and predicts celestial cycles thousands of years into the future. The Great Pyramid of Giza, Angkor Wat, and Teotihuacan are aligned with star constellations, suggesting that these civilizations saw their cities as reflections of the heavens. Where did this knowledge come from? Did they develop it through thousands of years of observation, or was it passed down from an unknown source? Some of the most enigmatic ancient structures suggest that early civilizations may have harnessed energy in ways we do not understand today. The Baghdad Battery, a 2,000-year-old clay jar with a copper cylinder and an iron rod, suggests knowledge of electricity long before its official discovery. The dendera light bulb, an Egyptian carving, appears to depict a large bulb with a filament, an image eerily similar to a modern electrical lamp. The Great Pyramid was not simply a tomb. Some theories suggest it could have functioned as a power plant, using underground water channels and quartz-lined chambers to generate an unknown form of energy. Did these civilizations understand natural forces and energy manipulation in a way we have yet to rediscover? One of the biggest missing pieces in human history is the possibility of a forgotten catastrophe that wiped out an advanced civilization. The Younger Dryas impact hypothesis suggests that 12,800 years ago, a massive comet or asteroid struck Earth, causing floods, fires, and a sudden climate shift. Many ancient myths, including those of the Maya, Hindus, and Greeks, speak of a great flood that destroyed previous civilizations. Could a lost global culture, perhaps the legendary Atlantis, have been wiped out, leaving only fragments of its knowledge behind? If so, did survivors of this lost civilization pass on fragments of their wisdom to early cultures, like the Sumerians, Egyptians, or Indus Valley people? Perhaps the greatest lost knowledge is not technological, but spiritual, the understanding of human consciousness itself. The ancient Vedas of India describe techniques for activating higher states of awareness, something modern neuroscience is only beginning to study. Egyptian texts speak of the opening of the third eye and the ability to perceive reality beyond the physical world. Shamans and mystics across different cultures claim to have accessed hidden dimensions of reality, knowledge that was dismissed as myth, but is now being explored in quantum physics. Did the ancients understand human potential, mind expansion, and energy fields better than we do today? If so, why was this knowledge buried? The evidence is clear. Ancient civilizations were far more advanced, connected, and knowledgeable than we once believed. Whether through sacred geometry, lost sciences, or advanced astronomy, they left behind clues, hidden in myths, symbols, and structures, suggesting they understood reality in ways that modern science is only beginning to explore. Could it be that we are not discovering new knowledge, but rather rediscovering what was lost? The past is not what we think it is. And perhaps, the greatest revelations are yet to come. What if history is not just incomplete, but intentionally hidden? We've explored civilizations that defy explanation: Atlantis, Göbekli Tepe, the Mayans, and the Indus Valley. But what if they are just the beginning? What if there were others, even more advanced, erased by time or even by design? What if the Sumerians weren't the first, but the inheritors of a lost knowledge? What if Tartaria was a global empire wiped from history? What if Egypt holds the last traces of an ancient super-civilization? What if Nan Madol was built with technology we don't even understand today? And here's the real shocker: what if we are next? The cycle of history is one of rise and fall. Civilizations grow, achieve greatness, and then disappear. If this has happened before, could it happen again? Subscribe and hit the bell icon because the truth is out there, and we are just getting started.